Hey. Great TrapN Podcast. I am your host, Mr. James Roberts, and in the building tonight, I have a friend, a partner. We connected over TikTok. That's what I got on TikTok for, was to connect with drivers, get to know people, get to know where they're coming from. And as you know, um, this is what the show is all about. This is what the show is all about. It's about us truckers getting our stories out, me digging a little deeper than what you just see on either TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, getting to dive deeper into the background of the trucker. And here lately, I've been getting all the women. I had Josh on last week. That was my guy. But tonight, I have a friend. I can say I have a friend, a social media friend. We're really cool. Uh, we got the same train of thought, if you want to say that. And I invited her up. I invited her up because I wanted to get a story. I wanted to get it out. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to uh Miss Rasheada Rice.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, Miss Sheeta, how you
Hi.
doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. I really thank you for taking out. I always say this. I don't take for granted people's time. Okay. And I want to say thank you for joining the Freight Trapping Podcast here tonight. I want to thank you for allowing me to dig into, what I'm saying, your story, your past, your in transportation and in life. And so um we're going to jump right into it because I don't want to take up your home time. This is our downtime, as you know, for truckers. We do our 34. Me and Miss Sheeta are absolutely blessed to do our 34 hours at home, 34 hour
Yes.
reset. at home. And so she's going to give me an hour, and I don't want to take that up talking because I got a lot of questions. So, Miss Sheeta, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, thank you. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. You looking rested?
Yeah, I'm well rested up. I've been in
okay,
here cleaning up around the house, doing house chores today.
okay. And she's at home. She's a trucker. She cooks. She's married. She has one of the most, I want to say, memorable stories of love and trucking that you want to hear, and we're gonna dig into that. We're gonna dig into that. But first and foremost, I want to say welcome to the Freight Trapping Podcast. Uh, let's jump right into it.
Okay,
Introduce yourself to the people who may hear this or who are hearing this. Let them know who you are, where you're from, uh, what you do in trucking, and we'll go from there.
okay. Well, my name is Rasheada Rice. I am 44 years old. I live in Virginia. At this time, I'm currently from South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina to be exact. I'm a mother of four, two of my own, two stepchildren. Um, what else? I drive truck, 18 wheeler. I drive for a moving company. So I do move furniture all day long with military moves. I like that. I'm starting to move on. I got something for you, Freight, that you might like. I have been applying for new jobs, and I may have a new position doing what you're doing with the same company you work for, Freight. I'll find it out tomorrow morning. So I have did all the testing and everything else for FedEx. So I may be working for FedEx next. I don't know what God got in plan for me next, but right now that's what I'm doing in trucking.
It's already done. 'Cause if you've already taken a drug test,
Yeah, I did my drug test. I took my background. My background came back. Did my drug test already.
you might well put your 2 week notice in
Say less.
because they don't do that on if they're not gonna hire you.
Okay, that's
Believe
good to
me,
know.
they will not do that unless they're gonna hire you. And I want to say congratulations.
Yeah, I even did my DOT physical for them.
Oh yeah, they gonna make you do one of those. That's
Yeah.
how I know. That's how I know you got the job.
Oh well, thank you.
They're not going to they're not going to go to any length like that to just say maybe.
Okay.
so, so look forward to I don't know if they do the training at your facility. They might send you down the road,
Okay.
but just it's gonna be a week of training, and then yeah, you good.
I'm
you
ready.
good. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I'm going to say that you did not make the wrong decision when it comes down to the rest of your career, building a nest egg, um, preparing yourself for retirement. I'm going to say you did not make a bad move. We'll talk some more about the other intricacies of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Building your next egg because some of that stuff has changed a little bit over since 2022. I mean 21, but we'll talk about that offline. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I
You
appreciate it.
have so you have so many dynamics to who you are as a person, as a woman in trucking, as a mother, as a wife. I just heard you have a blended family, just as I do. Well, we're not really blended anymore. we
Yeah.
mix, we
We're
mix.
all one now.
Yeah, we stuck. It's up and it's stuck, like the little guy used to say.
Yep.
And
From
and I want you to just go back. You sent me some of your background. Go back into. I wanna know about because I didn't know this, and I want you to go as deep as you want to go. Tell as much as you want to tell in anything that I ask you.
okay.
What happened with the wheelchair? I when I read that, I didn't know. Let's start right there. Let's
Okay.
start right
Well, in 2009. I had a car accident that put me in a wheelchair for a year and a half. I was on my way to work one morning. I went to go pick my coworker up, and
Mhm.
something just came over top of me. It was like a little spirit or something, and it whispered to me. It was like God told me, "Tell your coworker to get in the back seat if he want to live." So I
Mhm.
told him to get in the back seat. Yeah, he was like, "What's going on?" Yeah, hold on for a second. I'm doing something. Give me a minute. I'm sorry, it's my son's friend.
Hey,
Um,
hey, listen. If you ever need to turn around and handle your business, hey, it's
y'all come
totally
in real quick.
yeah, it's totally fine. Hey, this is family life.
Okay, I understand it. So yeah, well, with that accident, what y'all want here? Take one of these and go. Cause I'm doing this podcast. Here, take this and go. I'm doing something. Y'all go, 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 go. Y'all
That's
in the room.
family life,
I'm
y'all.
sorry.
That's hey, that's family life. That's a mother. She wears many hats, and I don't
Yes,
mind. I don't mind taking a moment for her to take care of her children.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I thought they were outside doing nothing. They want to wait till I'm talking to come in
Hey,
here.
no apologies. I have a 4-year-old. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, forgive me. So as I was saying, a spirit came up top of me and told me to tell my coworker to get in the back seat. At the time, I didn't understand what was going on,
Mhm,
and I probably was like 5 minutes from my house. So I did follow that spirit. And when he got in the car, I just asked him. I was like, "Hey, you want to live?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, get your butt in the back seat." And he was like, "What you talking about?" I was like, "God told me to tell you get your ass in the back seat if you want to live." So he was like, "Rasheeda, I ain't playing with you, girl. You play too much. The way you and God faith is, I'm going on and get in this back seat because you told me too much stuff that God told you, and it come true. So I'm gonna go on and get in the back seat." So he got in the back seat. We
oh
took
no,
off.
we not gonna pass over that. I'd have been like, stop playing with me.
No, because what happened was the week prior to that, I had told him it was somebody at my job that was stealing. I didn't know the person was stealing.
Hmm.
So I just came and asked him randomly, "Hey, I got a feeling that somebody God told me somebody in this job is stealing. I don't know who it is because you my friend. If it's you, don't be doing X, Y, and Z if you're doing it because that somebody about to go down tomorrow."
Hmm.
I said, and I just told I said, God told me to tell you that, and I'm just telling you as a friend. And he was like, "No, it's not me, but I know who it is. Da, da, da. So I'm gonna go down and pass the word." So I was like, "Okay, you ain't gotta tell me who it is, but just tell everybody whatever." So I told everybody in the job, if you're doing something, don't do this on this day because it's going down.
Hmm.
And on that day that I told them it was gonna go down, it happened to go down the way I told them it was gonna go down.
Boy, that
And they
spirit.
looked at me and they was like, "How you know?" I was like, "That night I couldn't sleep and I just kept having this same dream back to back that somebody in this job was getting ready to get in trouble for taking something off the job I ain't had no business doing." I
Hmm.
couldn't see the person's face, but it kept playing that same memory back over and over again. It kept saying somebody close to you. So make sure you're not in that vicinity. You stay away from there because you're not involved in that.
Hmm.
So I followed that lead and I had told him that. And he kept himself distant from that crew. And it saved him. So when I told him the next day, I mean the next week or so, to get in my back seat if he wanted to live, he was like, "I'm not messing with you." And he got in the back seat.
Hey, that's so wonderful because that spirit of discernment that we most of us don't even listen to. We just write it off as, oh, it was a bad dream, or we write it off as just being another whatever. But it just shows your faith. It shows your adherence to the Holy Spirit. And don't like, me, you know
Yeah.
me, man. Whenever it leads you, whenever it moves you, you know what I'm saying, go into it on here, because this is a faith-based podcast, and I strictly adhere to the Holy Spirit.
Well,
So
I
go ahead,
appreciate
you
that.
saved his life. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I pretty much saved his life. So about 5 minutes later, we were going up the hill. We were like 2 minutes from my house again.
Hmm.
It was pouring down rain. It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
The light changes on my end. I see it changes. I'm coming up the hill for me to go straight. I'm proceeding to go in. All of a sudden, this car come out of nowhere. Bam! And T-bones my car.
Hmm.
I can't control my car. My car is really I mean, it's pouring down right now outside and it's dark. So my car is veering towards this pole. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Lord, please take the wheel." My car stopped as soon as it got to the pole. It's all smashed up. I look for my coworker. I'm like, "James, where are you at? Where you at?"
Hmm.
I'm looking around for him because I told him to get in the back seat. He's no longer in the back seat. So I'm like, "Where is this man at?" I look down. He's underneath my dashboard. My front seat, that one of them pushed him underneath my dashboard. So I'm barely, because I couldn't feel my right hand and I could feel my left hand, but I couldn't feel my right hand. So I take
Mm-hmm.
my left hand and pull him up from the dashboard. I'm like, "You okay?" He's like, "I'm fine. Are you okay?" And I'm like, I can't feel my feet, and I can't feel my hand." And he's like, "Okay." So I called my husband because, mind you, I told you I was like 2 minutes from my house. I
Mm-hmm.
called 911 and I called my husband. By this time, the guy gets out the car who hits me, and he's like Superman. He's standing over top of my car, banging on my window, like, "Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, sir, I am not. I just called the police and I called my husband. They're on the way here." And he was like, "You're fine. You're fine. I'm a major in the military. So you okay?" And try to pull me out the car. So I'm like, "Please don't touch me, sir. Just leave me alone."
Mm-hmm.
He left me there. The ambulance had to come and cut me out of my car. My coworker ended up walking away. No scratches or anything else. He was just fine. Only I got hurt. The person that hit me didn't get hurt. Only I got hurt. So I wound up breaking my right hand, breaking my left ankle, my right foot, messing my right rotator cuff up, messing both of my knees up, um, my back. I tore all that up, all the muscles in there. So I've had surgery. I've had two surgeries on my right foot. I got a right fusion in my right foot, so I can't move my foot the way I can move my left foot. I don't have much of range of motion in that one.
Mm-hmm.
My right hand, as you can see, I don't have very much range of motion in there. You see it? If you look up, I can do my left hand like this, but I can't do my right hand like that.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
I have
see.
a fusion in there. It's a
Mhm.
plate and 8 pins in here that's got my all my metatarsals and my hand fused together, as well as the same thing with my right foot. It's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bone taken out of my right knee and put in my right foot to try to help that out. That still ain't work. And I said I had my rotator cuff surgery done on my right hand, my right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I've had back surgery, so I got a scar from one side of my back to the next side of my back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've had three hand surgeries since then. They took all the nerves out of my right hand because I kept having pain in there. So
Mm-hmm.
they came back in and took all the nerves out of there. If I show you get close up on me, you can kind of see them, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of light. At that point, after 12 surgeries, I got tired of having surgeries. They told me I probably would never walk again because my left ankle is technically still broken in 6 places because it shattered. That'll
Wow.
never heal unless I go and get a surgery on there. And I'm basically refusing to get surgery on there. So I kind of walk with a limp a little bit at times when it's raining outside. It's cold.
Right, arthritis.
hmm It's in
Mm-hmm.
my back, my legs, my arm, my shoulders, pretty much all over my body. But that don't stop me.
Mm-hmm.
As long as God give me breath in my body, I keep on moving. What else? Yeah, after the 12th surgery, I said I was done. I wasn't doing anymore.
Wow, that part right there. What?
I kind of shocked my therapist because he told me I wasn't going to walk anymore. I probably would be walking with a cane or, with a walker or something like that. And I told him no. It was maybe a week for my birthday. I just looked at him and said, "In a week, I'm gonna be walking." And he was like, "There's no way you're gonna be able to walk. Your ankles are not healed up. Your foot is still broken. You won't be able to walk." And what he didn't know was when I went home, I would put pressure on my ankles and my feet just to try to get back around. So only I knew how much pressure I could put down there. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even tell my ex-husband because I told you I'll tell you that story too.
Right.
I had two casts on my feet and one on my hand for the most part of that whole year and a half I was in the wheelchair
Wow.
because I kept getting the surgeries on my hand and my feet and just kept going back trying to get it to heal up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, during that time, I was telling my therapist that I was ready to walk, and he knew and I knew that I had an abusive husband. While I was in that time, he only started doing it when when I was in the wheelchair and I had the cast on. He
Wow.
thought that he could whoop me, but my God, my God, my God,
Hold on.
he never
Hold
he
on.
never allowed that. Every time
Do
he
you
tried to beat me, I beat him.
do you know do what you have a diary of a mad black woman too on your hands?
Yeah, it's the time where I was laying in my bed, minding my business, looking
Ah,
at TV. I had the two cat. I had just had surgery on my feet, and I was talking, and I was looking on Facebook. Was when I first started Facebook, and I was talking to a friend on there, and I was just sitting there. He just came in the room out of nowhere and decided he was going to jump up on the bed and try to land out on my feet. I snatched my feet back in time and was able to kick and push him off the bed right into the wall. So he went face first into the wall. I kind of like messed him up when he thought he was gonna mess me up.
man, you have just messed me up, Sheila. I promise you have just messed me up.
Yeah, like one time I was in the kitchen trying to cook because I couldn't cook for my kids. So it got to the point where he was supposed to be cooking for me and bathing me, but he couldn't. So he was trying to like argue and fight with me all the time. So I started doing things for myself because I gotta do this. I'm not gonna let you kill me. So I was cooking dinner for my children one day, and I remember I was at the stove, and he comes in and he cuts the stove off because this is not his kids; they're my kids. He
Mm-hmm.
cuts the stove off, and then he's like, "I'll take this food now, throw it across the floor." Now, mind you, my ex-cousin is African; he's not American. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I got the African last name. As he tried, he wound up finding his stuff sliding across the floor, and not my kids' food.
A round of
So
applause. A
yeah,
round of applause for that chapter of your life.
yeah, I wound up getting out of it after I end up poking a couple of holes somewhere I ain't had no business and seeing my kids' face and destroyed like I was gonna never be back again. And that
Okay.
was the final straw. And I was only there because I knew in my heart, like I was young. I had my children when I was 17 and 25.
Mm-hmm.
Their father's never been in their life. It's always been me as a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing what I had to do to take care of my kids. It wasn't with him that I loved this man. I never loved this man. And I knew when I got married to him, it wasn't love. We were good friends, but it
Wow.
wasn't for love.
Let's speak on that. And because we are we went from talking about what you went through in the wheelchair into you being in an abusive marriage and to you being a survivor to you, being still in a wheelchair, still being a mother, still being a wife, still being who you were, and to be a fighter in that position and to fight through all of that. I tip my hat to you. I promise you I do because I can't even imagine. I don't have that kind of I don't that's not my makeup of what you went through. But we don't want to relive that because now you're triumphant, right? And now
Yeah.
you're triumphant.
It's
So
the reason why I told you that because you're going to ask me about my husband. And I'm going to tell that's why I told you about that part because my husband and
mm-hmm.
he's the
let's
reason how I got out of
let's
that.
okay. Now let's go to the triumphant part. You got out of that. What happened after you moved from that situation? Right there where you ended. What happens next in Sheeta's life?
Well, I didn't actually, although I said my husband was the part of the reason how I got out of that relationship. And he, he made sure he let my husband know not to put his hands on me no more. He was gonna have a problem with him. But him and I didn't get together at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We waited about 7 more years before we got back together because my husband and I had been together maybe 4 or 5 years prior to the time I got married.
Mm-hmm.
So him and I had separated,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got married, and then him and I were still friends, but not like that. We was just I would talk to him. Not if he called to say hello, I'll say hi, something like that. Nothing anything bigger than that.
Okay, so before the husband,
Yeah,
how are the kids doing?
the kids are doing great. My two kids are 27 and 18 years old, so they're grown.
So
I have
they
now
grew up, they grew out of that, and their mental is okay, and
definitely.
everything is they have no. I'm not going to say they don't have no trauma, but they're okay and they're thriving as healthy adults right now.
Through the grace of God, they have no trauma. They're
Okay,
thriving as healthy adults. My
good,
oldest son is married. He's
good,
been married since he was 21,
good,
and he's an excellent husband. He treats his wife excellent.
good,
He does
good.
the best he can as a young husband. I see my youngest son. He don't really want to get into a relationship.
Hmm.
He wants to just stay to himself. Oh, he's in one. He don't want to tell me. He want to keep it to himself. So I mean, I think I got an idea who his little girlfriend is, but he
Mm.
keeps telling me that's his friend. So I'll just go with that.
And speaking from a son who's seen his mom do exactly what you did. She didn't go through what you did, but being in an abusive marriage and watching my mom fight back, right? And
Hmm.
not take it and not just lay down and take it. I I made a vow to myself that I would never put my hands on a woman
Yeah.
in that manner. You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
Out of being frustrated, because we get frustrated, but some men can't handle that. Some men can't control that. But for men and young boys who see that, I make a vow not to make my wife suffer and cry the way my dad made my mom suffer and cry.
That's awesome.
So from that, your two boys probably, hopefully, and I'm speaking on it, that they had that mindset of, I'm never going to make a woman feel the way my mom felt.
Yep. They definitely do.
Okay, so let's jump to the new husband. Let's talk about that story. So once you guys decided, when was the point and what did he do
F-
to help you decide that this is the man I want to be with and build with for the rest?
Well, I originally told you, I don't know if everybody listening here, how we
Yes,
first
yes,
originally
don't
met.
nobody know this is my first time in this, y'all. So
Well,
so
when we first met, I met him through my sister. She was dating his best friend. He had came home from prison. He did his time. He had been in for a while. We had been talking on the phone for a while back, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I
Mhm.
had never met him, but we was just phone buddies talking every day, every night on the phone, sending to each other pictures and just talking because we could, I didn't have a car, he didn't have a car at the time. So finally, when we got to meet each other, he told me when he met me, he's like, I said, "What are we gonna do when we meet?" He said, "I'm gonna take you outside, put you on the swing." So I was just laughing so hard, like we are like in our late 20s, want to be in our 30s. You want to do what? He said, "I'm gonna take you outside and I'm gonna push you on the swing and I'm gonna talk to you all day long and you're gonna tell me your deepest secrets and I'm gonna tell you mine." So I was like, okay, cool. So about 3 or 4 days later, we got to meet each other and we talking. They're like, all right, what we gonna do? He was like, come on. I told you I was gonna take you outside and push you on the swing. He walked outside. I thought he was joking. He took me around the corner to the playground. He was like, get on the swing. I sat on the swing and he pushed me on the swing for like 3 or 4 hours. He just pushed me slowly. We were talking back and forth. He sat right there. He just kept pushing me on the swing, talking, talking, talking. And at that point, I knew I was like, this is the one. He kept his word. He's so sweet. And I
so
just,
fellas, put this in your playbook. Put this in your playbook, youngsters.
I wound up going to the house. He was like, we was talking back and forth. He was like, I know you don't want to do nothing right now because we just made each other. I was like, shoot, yes, we can. That's the first time I ever did that fast.
Fellas, youngsters, it's the simple things.
It's the simple things. Yes, the
We
simple
laugh
things.
and we joke about this because it's so innocent, right? Of a gesture. You reminded me of Coming to America. I told you this. You reminded me of Coming to America when Eddie Murphy met the Queen. He went over to the house he supposed to been serving, but they went out there and they was on the swing talking.
Yeah. He said, come on, let's go.
That reminded me, man. That was that, and that moment there was so cool. I don't think anyone. Well, I ain't gonna say anyone, but I don't think a woman could probably resist that. Even women who say, "I need this, I need that." I don't think they could resist um, that connection in
Yeah.
the moment. Instead of talking over a phone or talking online, in the moment, y'all sat there for 3, 4 hours on the swing, just getting to know each other and digging deeper.
Yep.
That's so
You
cool.
you want
That's
me to tell you how he told me he was in love with me?
how they tell you.
Well, I came home from work one day.
Hmm.
He had ran me a bath water. He was like, come on, baby, I got some bath water ran for you. He had
Hmm.
2 glasses of wine sitting there. He was just sitting there. He's like, come on, get in the tub. So I got in the tub. I was like, you gonna get in here with me? He said, no, I'm gonna sit right here in the toilet and talk to you. So he
Hmm.
was sitting right on the toilet stool talking to me. He just kept playing the Jagged Edge song, Would You Be My Wife, all the love songs.
Hmm.
And he was just asking me about, do you love me? How do you feel about me? And I'm like, why? Why you want to know? Because you know how you play the game. You don't want to be the first one to say you love me first.
Right,
So I'm playing this with him. I'm like, why? What you want to know? You keep playing all these love songs. Why?
right.
And then the Jagged, it was a Jagged Edge, Will You Be My Wife? Let's Get
Yeah.
Married came on. Let's Get
Let's get
Married
married.
came on.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you know you ain't going nowhere. And I was like, where am I trying to go to? I'm in the tub. And he's like, no, I just want to let you know I just want you to be my wife. And I was like, I kind of figured you wanted something. You kept playing all these love songs and you rubbing my hair in the tub. And he got the candles lit all nice and sweet. He
I,
had the rose petals come from the bedroom to the bathroom, laid
I,
out all nice.
I had to let you tell that story while you, because it looked like it's getting a little dark on your end, while you go and turn some lights on. Listen, man, this is Sheeta. This is who she is. She's lighthearted. She's a trucker. She's a mom. She's been through abusive situations. She's been in a wheelchair, and now she's married, the mother of four, and now let's talk about this trucking career.
Okay. So I
Yeah,
got into trucking.
right. Let's start right there. Why did you get into trucking? What made you get into trucking, and where are you now? Not where you're going, because we know where you're going. You just told me before. What are
Okay.
we doing in trucking? And in between now, I have some questions, but I'm gonna let you run your story down.
All right. So remember I told you about my abusive husband, right?
Hmm.
Well, when I told you I had to do the little poke, poke, poke to get myself up out of that relationship,
I ain't gonna
I,
I ain't gonna ask you what the poke is, but I can imagine. Just go ahead.
I wound up doing some jail time.
Oh,
So,
whoa. Talk about the jail time.
yeah, so I wound up getting locked up for doing something to my husband to protect myself.
Hmm.
Um, Once I got out of jail, I met this other African dude. I was just walking to the store, and it was like the day I got out. And I had a lot on my mind. I was trying to figure out where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do. This guy asked me, he was like, "Hey, you want to come ride in my truck?" And I was like, "Hell no, I don't know who you are."
Hmm.
It's like, "Well, I think you're a beautiful black woman. I'll pay you to come ride with me." I said, "I'm not a whore. I'm not gonna come ride with you." So I kept walking. And the guy got in his truck and he left me alone for a few minutes. I went into the store and I came back out. He was still right there. He was like, "Something telling me to keep telling you come ride with me." And I was like, "And something keep telling me to tell you no. I'm not coming ride with you. Where do you want me to ride with you to?" And he was like, "I want you to go to Richmond to DC, and I'll give you $500." I was like, "To go where?" And he was like, "Richmond to DC." And I was like, "And that's it? You ain't want no sex or nothing?" He was like, "No." So I went to my house. I got my protection, and I said, "Okay, I'll come ride with you." Because
Hmm.
remind you, this is the first day I came home from prison, so I had no money. I'm trying to
Hmm.
figure out what I'm gonna do. I had lost my place. My kids were staying with my mom. So I'm like, this $500 will be a nice little help. So I got in the truck with the guy. This is my first time really being inside an 18 wheeler.
First of all, let me say this here. You took a life chance because you were in these are the listen to let me explain something to you guys. These are the chances that mothers take to feed their kids, to get themselves together, coming out of an abusive relationship, just coming out of prison with no with no pot to piss in and no window to throw it out of. She she took a life chance.
Because I didn't know I was gonna sleep that night. I was just gonna walk around and just stay up as long as my kids were safe.
Wow.
So that's
Go
why
ahead.
I was like, all right, I'll go take this because I can at least get myself a hotel room for a couple of days, if
Go
anything. And I
ahead.
know how to protect myself, so it wasn't like he gonna overpower me because I was bigger than the guy was. I see I was stronger than the guy was, and I really wasn't worried about him doing anything to me.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, like I said, it was daylight, and he told me where we were going to, and I was familiar with the area. So I
Mhm.
took a ride with him. When we got to the landfill, up there, he was talking to me the whole way, so he kind of like knew I had just came out of prison and I told a little bit of my story.
Mhm.
And once we got to the landfill, he was like, "Are you interested in driving trucks?" And I was like, I could drive anything. And he was like, "Are you serious?" And he had a manual. I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is when I go up the hill and I go back around this corner, so you don't flip my truck over, I'm gonna let you drive and see what you can do." And I was scared as I don't know what. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't know how to drive this damn truck. What am I gonna do?"
Okay.
So the guy put me in the truck and he let me put a pedal around, play with his gears and everything else. And I kind of drove around the landfill.
Mhm.
And I was like, I like this. I like this. And this was probably in 2000. This was 2011 or 12. So I rode with this man, and he would give me $500 every time I rode with him for about 6 months. So I kind of got familiar with how the truck worked and everything else. And then at one point, like I said, I didn't have any places to go. I was still homeless. So I was just taking all his money and I didn't have a job. Taking all the money he gave me, every time he gave me $500, I just put it in my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So he got me started with a Navy Federal account, which helped my credit out. And he was like, again, I like you, but I know you told me you didn't want no sex and nothing like that. And he had told me he was married. And I said, I don't mess with married men. I'm sorry. I will never do that. That's not who I am. We could be friends, but marriage, no. So it was just like I was his riding buddy. He would come pick me up at the road. I would go ride with him, and he would just pay me to go ride with him to keep him company and keep him woke. Because I didn't know how trucking was at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to see that he was doing a lot of hours back and forth. So we would take about 7 or 8 trips from Richmond to DC, and he would pay me that $500. I would get out the truck and I would go home. Then finally one time he's like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, uh, I'm going to a hotel when I leave here. And he's like, "You can't save money if you're going to a hotel. I live down the street here and I leave my truck right here. So if you want to, you can sleep in my truck at night." So he
Mm-hmm.
let me sleep in his truck for a couple of nights while the truck was going, and I ran back there. To make a long story short, one night we were doing one of our trips back and forth, and I was sleepy because I also had my nursing degree, and I had just found me a job doing my nursing degree at a pediatrics office. So I got back into doing my nursing, and I was working. I was still riding with him trying to save my money up because I wanted to get a place for my kids. So I was really, really tired this particular day, and I wasn't sitting in the front seat. I went back to the back seat to go lay down, and I heard him tell me he was getting out the truck to go and take his load or whatever he was going to go do to unload his truck. So I could hear him on the backhand side talking. All of a sudden, I hear the door open up on the right hand side. So I kind of sit up. I'm like, what the hell? And I hear a lady's voice. The lady walking there in the African, and she's talking, and she swings the curtains open, and I'm just sitting there looking. And she's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm such and such wife." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Lord have mercy. Are you serious right now?" And
Mm-hmm.
she's yelling, "I know you were cheating." I said, "Ma'am, he's not cheating on you. We're not having any sex or anything like that. It's no cheating situation." This woman swore up and down I was sleeping with her husband. I said, "Lady, I am not sleeping with your husband. I refuse to do that."
Now, let me say this here. Now, what you just described, it was already running through my head because those were the chances you were taking,
Exactly.
right? And so at the end of the day, as much as you said you wasn't, if I ran up on my wife and she had somebody in the back of the truck and it was a dude, you couldn't tell me no different. And so I'm just playing, I'm just
Yeah.
giving another eyesight to what, what I'm saying, to what you were going through. But these were the chances that you had to take in order to get to where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
continue.
I was like, I'm just trying to learn how to drive a truck, and your husband is showing me this, and I was trying to explain everything to her because he was trying to actually get from underneath the driver's seat and have somebody drive his truck, and they would sit back and they relax. So that's what his point was, trying me and try to get me under his truck.
Mhm,
The wife didn't want to understand that. She
mhm,
started having her kids playing on my phone and everything else. So I got stripped of that chance to even drive a truck at that point in time.
mhm,
So skip forward to me getting with my ex, not my husband, not my ex husband, but my ex that I was with prior to this. He
mhm,
used to drive truck actually. He stopped driving truck because he got a DUI.
mhm,
I told him this is what I wanted to do. So I went to the trucking school that I went to and got my CDLs,
mhm,
which was 5 years prior to the day that I graduated. I'll
mhm,
tell you that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the school. I'm going to get my CDLs. I'm going to stop doing nursing because I'm tired of the nursing field, blah, blah, blah. He didn't want me to do so. So he did everything in his power to keep me from going to the nursing school.
mhm.
The moment me and my husband got together that I'm with, he asked me, "You look like you're tired of this nursing, this is now." I'm like, I am, and I really want to drive truck. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Well, go for it. I'll pay for it." And I was like, "What?" He said, "If that's what you want to do, baby, that's what make you happy. Go for it. I'll pay for it." And mind you, I told you he's always been the one that's been there protecting me through my exes that I've been with. He's always been a friend for me. He's always been the one that had my back through everything. When they didn't, he's always had my back from the first time we
So,
got together.
so this is where me and you connected
Hmm.
because I remember I posed a question on TikTok is I would not be comfortable with my wife driving a truck,
Hmm.
right? And I didn't say every man, it wasn't every man, it was just my opinion. And so when I asked that question, you jumped in and you gave me a new insight and another lens to look at it in from your perspective. And so this is where you and I kind of begin to connect and talk about trucking, and you gave me an understanding, and you made me see how there are men that are out there that are cool with it, and it's no problem for it. And we talked back and forth, and I told you I gave you my vision of it and all of that. But I respected your vision, and I respected your husband even the more for having that much confidence and being confident in allowing you. And it had nothing to do with, oh, she gonna go do something. It was a protection thing for me, and I
Yeah,
think you understood that. And
yeah.
so that's why I understood your story, and now I understand your story even more. Go ahead, continue.
That's one of the reasons why I kind of came up the road and started doing local,
Mm-hmm,
because I saw that my trucking company that I'm with, they're not the best. They
mm-hmm,
gave me broken down trailers, tires popped. I mean, I've had the worst of the worst since I've been on the road. And being a new trucker and a female, that has worried my husband a lot.
mm-hmm,
When I seen him on his job and I'm talking to him, and he's really friendly, he's easy to get along with unless you get him on the wrong side.
mm-hmm,
And he's just snapping and going off, and I'm like, babe, what's going on? And he's like, I'm worried about you out here on this road. You sitting on the side of the road and I can't get to you. I'm like, I gotta come up the road. I
mm-hmm,
gotta come up the road for at least for a minute to give him a little bit of peace of mind, or until I find a company who has decent equipment. Because him
mm-hmm.
and I agreed if the equipment wasn't messed up, he wasn't worried about me on the road, like doing something to me. He was worried about the equipment that I had, and it wasn't right. And I'm stopping at these janky places trying to get it fixed.
And that was the whole that, and that was my whole point, was that as a female, if you're not in a comfortable situation to where your husband is cool, and he's just like any other man.
Hmm.
If your wife, even if you was in your own car and you were driving from one city to the next, it would be a worry factor because I'm not there to protect you, right? And if it was him, he would have been like, okay, come on, let me put this protection on your car. That same protection that he would have put on your car, the trucking company wasn't able to put that protection on you. And that's the problem he had with it.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly the problem. And me and his wife, I didn't push back with that. Although truck is what I want to do, I wanted to travel. I didn't want to stress him out or cause problems in our relationship. So I came off the road and just did local to make sure that we were okay as a couple, because he did pay for me to go to school. He didn't
Mhm.
have a problem with me going to school. He didn't give me any pushback like all the other men did. He totally supported it. So I figured for our family, why not support and do it the right way, where we both can actually agree on what we're gonna do.
Where's he at right now?
He's at work. He works nighttime. Y'all
I
look alike
really.
too. Y'all look alike too. That's why y'all get. That's why he like you so much.
I just want. I mean, when you talk to him, I just tell him from me to him that I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Him having your back. I appreciate him doing what I probably couldn't do. I probably could if my wife had your story. I probably could, but at the end of the day, it's God gave God gave you him for a reason.
Yeah.
God gave you him for a
Yeah.
reason, and
Twice.
twice, and that's why he's where he's supposed to be with you. So tell him, I just say I tip my hat to him. I don't know if I would have been able to do it, but but I don't have to do it. But I tip my hat to him for being a man's man and allowing you to have your career, and even supporting your career even through those bad times.
Right.
So just let him know I say, man, hats out to you.
Well, I got a question for you,
Hmm.
or anybody out there that's listening that they're going to ask questions or answer the question.
Hmm.
Um, would you, or do you know anybody that's able to take custody of someone else's child when they are not able to do so?
Yeah, me,
That's why
me,
we get along. Me
me.
too.
Because if my daughter's dad was absent in her life, I mean, if he wasn't absent, if he was absent in her life and she didn't know him, and you know what I'm saying, or even if she knew him and then he just dropped out and she no longer had any communication with him, I would.
Yeah,
If she asked me, I want to be a Roberts and I don't want to be such and such, I would.
I do it for love.
Without any hesitation, I would.
Exactly, without no hesitation.
Yeah,
It's a
I
blink of
would.
an eye. It's like done.
Yep, I would. She's an amazing girl. She's turning into an amazing young lady. Uh, she man, she took care of my son. I mean, she takes care of my son. It's some, she's a young lady. In some areas that you got to stay on her butt with, but for the most part, there's nothing. I give her a hard time because I wanna prepare her for the world because she has such a sweet heart,
Hmm.
and I don't wanna keep pouring sweetness on top of her sweetness because then when we let her off the porch, the world not sweet.
Exactly, exactly.
So I have to try and give her a little bit of sour so
Hmm.
that she knows that, oh, okay, I got this at home, so I know how to deal with it.
That's important right there, Freight, because it's something that my sister and myself are learning as single moms. We
Mhm.
kind of let the boys be a little sweet, and we're learning now that maybe we should have been a little bit more rougher.
Mhm. It's not your fault because you guys were trying to replace what you thought they were missing.
Yeah,
You was trying to replace that hard voice that you needed in the home with love.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so it's not any single woman's fault who tries to replace what a man misses from his father with love. Cause my mom tried, she did it. She replaced what I was missing with my dad with love.
hmm,
You know what I mean? And I was just fortunate to have a few friends who still had their dad in their life, or if they didn't have their dad, they had their grandfather. Right? I had uncles, even though they wasn't in the house. I worked with my uncle for a number of years, and so at the end of the day, I was I, I was an old soul before I was old.
me
You
too.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so I knew and I understood a lot of stuff before my time. You know what I mean?
hmm,
And so with her, with my daughter, I would definitely say that yes, I would without a doubt.
yeah, that's
But
good.
but I also know that even if she came to me and asked me right now with her dad being in her life, I would say no. I would say no because you have your dad, regardless of if he's not doing what you want him to do or he's not there as much as you want him to do be. I would say no because that's still your dad, right? But that
Yeah,
doesn't that doesn't take away from me loving you any less. You know what I
right.
mean? And so yeah. I mean it's so much it's so
It's a
much
lot. It's
love,
a
right?
lot to that situation.
Ooh, it's so much to loving and caring for kids now that I have, my biological son, which is 4. It's so much to it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
your
so
baby in before.
yeah, yeah, my son is 4. Yeah.
Got a long way to go.
Hey, hey, he feel like he 40. I promise you.
The kids nowadays, I got a 5-year-old nephew. Here come my hat. I ain't got one on to you. But look, Frank, here come my hat. I'm gonna take it off to you. If you got to raise a 4-year old,
Yeah, I'm doing it, and
you
it's
got a
getting
cold, baby.
yeah, it's getting there. So let's jump back into this. Um, your husband, he backed you up. You had to move because the company's equipment was faulty.
Yes.
So where do you go from now once you decide to come off of that road and make it back to the city?
Well, right now I do have my own business on the side where I make shirts, cups, mugs, everything like that. So while I'm home, I'm just been making. I've been doing that, doing my nursing, and just driving locally. And I'm just basically done with the company I was with because
Mm,
yeah, they done took so much money from me, and me
yeah.
finding out
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they owe me about $10,000 or more. So I'm basically just looking for something better and something new. I've learned a lot along the way, something that I didn't know, and I don't know if all truckers know this, but I wasn't really familiar with the 1099 up until recently,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I put myself in a bind where I was being treated as an employee, but being paid as a 1099 worker,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of like put me in a situation instead of
Right.
me knowing as a new trucker.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know
so
what you're getting at.
without saying much about
Mm-hmm.
much,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm working
I
on
know what's
fixing that problem right now.
mm-hmm.
So if anybody out there in my world, you can always inbox me or DM me. We could talk about that on another level.
I
But
can do even better. You talking to somebody, I can give you a financial tip. We'll talk about it offline
okay,
that a lot of people look at as a bad thing, but in reality it's not.
okay,
It's not. And it'll save you. It'll
I
save you.
need that. I need that.
It'll save you. Um so now that you're not long with that no longer with that company, let's talk about the new company that you getting ready to be with.
Yes, I have did my background check with FedEx.
Yeah, slide to
I
your
did
left.
my I did my
There,
I was
there you
trying to
go.
block that daggone light right there.
Are you
I
good?
did my
No, you
I did
need that light. You good.
my DOT with FedEx and my drug test. So everything came back good on Friday. I'm just waiting on them to give me the okay.
They just gonna give you a call.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a call. The recruiter's gonna call you. Believe me.
Okay.
The manager's
Okay.
gonna call you, and they're gonna ask you come in, do your paperwork, do all of that. Then once you do that, they're gonna ask you, you know, they're gonna tell you when your training week is. They're gonna even bring you in and say, hey, I need you to learn how to drive forklifts. You need you to be on the dock. You're gonna go in doing all of those, doing
Okay.
all of yeah. They need that because at the end of the day, uh, that's what it is. So
Okay.
you got this.
Yes.
I just
Yes.
and even not on my word, on God's word, I'm gonna pray over that thing and stretch my hand toward that and say that it's already done. You
I
know,
agree.
it's already done. And I'm going to say because let's backtrack a little bit. Speaking on that, Thursday I had jumped into somebody's live and I heard them at, and this is an ongoing question um, that I don't think will ever. It's opinion based. It's
Hmm.
opinion based, and I'll say that mature women would say no, but immature women would say yes. And I'm not going. And when I say immature, I don't mean immature in a way of being non intellectual. I mean immature in the way of not understanding the dynamic. And so this was the question: can a woman raise a man? That's the
Yes.
question.
I say yes.
Why? Now
Um,
I wish I could run this back because
I'm gonna tell you why I
you
say
said
yes.
no earlier. You
It
said no
depends.
earlier.
No, I say yes. I say yes.
No. I'm gonna tell you why I heard no. Go ahead.
No, I say yes. Can a woman raise a man? I say definitely a woman can raise a man.
Go ahead.
I've raised two men,
Okay.
so it's for sure, and by myself. And that's like I said, I'm a single mom.
Okay.
I've raised two men.
Let me
One
tell
of
you.
them is married, doing well, got a good job, taking care of his wife. The other one just turned 18, be 19 this year. He still stay with me, but he
Okay.
just turned baby. He got a job. He been working since he was 16 years old.
Okay.
Not no trouble. So
Let
in
me.
my opinion, because I've done it and I've had my sister raised three men.
Okay.
They all got good jobs, 29, 28, and 21.
Okay.
No trouble, no jail time. Black man. She raised him by
Let
herself.
me
So
let me tell you why you just contradicted yourself.
wow.
Didn't you just say that you and your sister said to you yourself that maybe we put a little bit too much sweet in their life?
No, that was for a situation when it comes down to far as the police and the blue side. We kind of
Okay.
sheltered them
Okay.
from that.
Wait,
We
wait,
never
wait, wait.
we
Oh,
never
okay. Wait. I understand that. You mean outside of the home. I understand that. But
yeah,
that's
that's just
still
for that one part. That's why I say that because it's a situation that happened that I can't talk about right now.
but
That
I
my
don't want to
sister.
talk about it. But this is what I'm saying. That's where a man comes in, and when a boy already knows, or when he's uh being taught how to deal with the blue people, the police, like you just explained, that's where a man comes in. And I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened, but that's where a man comes in and he prepares a boy to handle a man's situation.
Yeah, I mean they
Okay,
prepared
so
for it.
my whole thing is this here. I'm not saying that you can't raise, you're not raising a healthy human being, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that at some point in a boy's life, he needs a male figure. It doesn't have to be his dad.
Now I agree with you on that.
It has to be someone at the church, at the school, a coach on the
Hmm.
football field, basketball field, something that he turns to. See, I don't think, put it like this here. I don't think that a woman by herself with nothing, with no man around him, be it a cousin, a brother, not a brother, a cousin, a uncle, a coach, a principal, a teacher, a deacon at the church, uh, uh, a man on the street, a man on the street. All I'm saying is that it's somebody that young boy,
Hmm.
when he gets about
11.
7 or 8. Now I'm gonna say about 7 or 8,
I agree with you on 7 to 8. I agree with you.
that he's gonna start saying, he's gonna start feeling that in him. He's gonna start saying, "Damn, I need to connect with a man. Where
Hmm.
is he at?" And he's gonna start looking for a man, not because you, as the mother, didn't give him what he need to be a good human being, but he's just, that's that innate part of him, and that's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's the innate part of a man that only another man can tap into.
Now
And
that I
this,
will agree with you with.
right,
hundred
that's the
percent.
only thing I'm saying. That's the
That's
only,
where my husband come in now at. And when
right,
that's how we remain friends because when I needed that man to talk to my kids and tell them that part right there, I would put him on the phone and talk to him because that was the man they knew from a little kid. Even though I was married to someone else, they always trusted my husband Cal. So they
right.
knew that when he got on the phone, they could trust what he had to say.
'Cause
They
let me
knew that
tell
he
you
had
something.
been there.
Let me tell you something. Without a woman in a man's life, there would be no men for women to marry.
Hmm.
There would be no men for women to marry.
Right.
A man needs that love. He needs that sensitivity. He needs those kisses from his mom, his grandmother, whoever it is raising him, for him, in order for a man to be in touch with
Yeah.
that sensitive side.
I believe that goes both ways with the man and the woman because of my
Oh,
experience. You have the women out here who didn't have the fathers in their way, and the mom was the single raiser. And if you look at the statistics, they are not the best. Not to call nobody anything, but they may not turn out to be the best. They may have a couple of issues. They may have a and they are beautiful women. They don't see what's inside themselves because they wasn't taught that. A lot of women were raised by mothers who called them bitches and whores and heifers.
Hmm.
I didn't experience that. I was my name. My sister was my name. My mom would never ever call us out our name.
Hmm.
So that's something that I could understand. But I do have friends who experienced that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've been there and I've seen the looks on their face and the hurt in their eyes. And we talk about the conversation. So I know how it hurts for
Hmm.
another woman to call their child that.
Hmm.
So when you think it's okay, it's not okay. You're actually scarring and hurting these women.
I
And
just
you
I think that we as male and female, women and men, need to agree that it takes a mixture of both in
mhm.
order to raise that healthy. You know what I mean?
Look,
And yeah.
it takes a mixture of everybody to raise that healthy child. Not just that man and that woman, but the community and everybody. Once we take it back to the days where you and I were raised at, when the neighbors can be involved and the schools involved and the friends involved, and
Can't
everybody can
take it
tell
back
you when your child is right or wrong.
you can't
And
take it back to that day because you have society is so screwed up right now. And you can't even trust kids to be on bus. Come on, you got a phone call. You can't even you can't even trust for kids to ride the bus nowadays
yeah,
because
hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm doing something. Give me a minute.
things are so messed up. They're so messed up. But I wish we could. I wish we could. I think you do. I think you could if you had a village, a neighborhood to where everybody knew everybody
Hmm.
and you knew who you were dealing with. But even then, too, with so much going on, what's your opinion on that?
I believe that it's okay because I'm a type of person. I love kids. Love kids right now. I'll go out my way. I've always had children, so in all ages. For me, I'm a community person. I take on the kids in the community around me and everything else. I see a kid on the street, I talk to him. I walk up to him, I say, "Hey, to you, hi, whatever, whatever." So I believe that we can still have that. It depends on each person
Hmm.
how you handle these kids. You just can't walk up to people's kids and be telling them what you can do and being all nasty with them. No, but do you have a voice with them children? You do. Because come on, y'all. I'm doing something important. Stop. You have a voice with the kids? You do. But it's all about how you handle them because kids like direction. Kids want to be taught something. They don't want to not have direction. They don't want to not be taught. They like a adult that knows that. The adult that don't, that's when the child goes wild. And I've known that. I've
Right,
taken parenting classes. So I've
right.
always been involved with the kids in my neighborhood as well as my own kids.
So we we got way off track. So I failed to ask you, how long you been driving trucks?
Almost a year. And in August it'll be a year.
August it'll be a year.
Yep, I'm a new driver.
I'm going to say this here. I'm going to, like I say, I'm gonna stretch your hands and cover you over that FedEx job and all of that kind of stuff. Uh, uh, the only thing that might hinder you from that is that year. But, but the thing about it is, you in the door, you in there, and like I said, it's already done.
That's what I was asking because I got a good driving record. I don't
Yeah.
have no accidents, anything like
The
that. It's
only
all
thing,
good.
the only thing they may ask you to do when you get in there, you may have to um be with a trainer, go into a training mode for about 2 weeks,
I'm
and
fine
then
with
the
that.
trainer will say, "Oh yeah, she good." You know what I mean? Just to make sure that you're on top of your game and all of that kind of stuff. And so, but like I said, no worries. God got you. You covered. It's already done. You know what I'm saying? He ain't brought you that far to let you go now. And
No, he
so
didn't.
and so at the end of the day, man, I say congratulations to you. I say, man, congratulations on your uh uh from rags to riches story, literally rags to riches story. um, I'm glad to see that you are in a healthy position, a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship. and you're going to be in a healthy career move. And
Yes.
so, man, I really appreciate you. I thank you for being on the podcast. I thank you for being here. I want before we leave, and you can take as long as you want, or you can do as short as you want. I want you to encourage anybody who's been in an abusive relationship. I want you to encourage anybody who's in a blended family. I want you to encourage anybody who's a first time trucker and somebody tell you no, they need 3 years, but God says different. I want you to encourage before you leave anybody who would say this, say no. They say no, but God says yes. Speak to them in your own words, in your own time, in your own way. Just speak to them. The floor is yours.
Well, I say this. As you look at me, give me a second for you today. A female trucker. I ain't but 5'2", probably about 140 pounds. I'm not the biggest one out here, but I'm still doing it. You can get into trucking if you want to. It's never too late. I'm 44 years old. I started trucking in my 43rd year in my life, and it feels great. There's nothing can stop you out here. If you see it, you can do it. If you believe it, you can see it, and you can have it been done. If you trust in God and that's what He leads you to, I say go for it because God is never going to let go of your hand. He's always going to guide you. He may not come when you want Him to, but He's an on time God, and we got to keep on serving and keep on pushing. No matter what we do, and the trucking life is a good life. If you want freedom and the choice to make your own decisions, then yes, trucking is for you. If you have a strong mind and a strong back surrounding, trucking is for you. If you need peace of mind, trucking is for you. If you just want to see the world, then yes, trucking is for you. Even if you want to make a difference and do something that's worth it, because as truckers, we keep the world moving. So you can make a difference as a trucker. And that's
And
my spiel.
what do
And
you
I,
say to that woman who feels like she's about ready to give up?
don't give up, sweetheart. God is coming. He right there. He hear you. He said, one more day, one more cry, and He's on the way. Just don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. Look at me. I could have gave up in a wheelchair. I didn't. I had somebody fighting me, hitting me, pushing me all around. I was told I'd never walk again. And I'm walking, y'all. These feet were made for walking. Look, they move. They move. They said I couldn't do it. And what I told them was, watch me do it. Because what God say, He got the last say. Not no therapist, not no doctor, anything. So if you talking to God and He moves you, you can always do it. I told my husband last year in March, I had to move in May out of my house. Y'all see what I've been walking around in just now? Y'all see this house? God did it. I told my husband in March of last year, matter of fact, March 17th of last year, that we was gonna buy this house. He told me the house had to be $500,000 or better before he bought the house. Y'all see what I'm standing there, don't you? I told him, okay, we with it. I'll find you that $500,000 house. I'm sitting in it right now. It took me 3 months, 3 months with trucking to stack what I need to stack to buy this house right here. So if you say you can't do it, God did it. I promise you that He could. If He did it for me, He could do it for you. I own this right here. I own it, y'all. My first home, my first person in my house, in my family. I own this right here, $500,000 house. It's mine. And can't nobody take it from me because trucking did that for me.
Miss Sheeta, I appreciate you. I thank you. Man, much success, much love, and congratulations on your new career with FedEx. And man, hey, once again, tell your husband I say hats off to him.
I
Hats off
definitely
to him.
will.
Go take care of them babies,
I'm
and
about to
we will
feed them.
talk soon.
All right, y'all say bye.
Y'all have a good one.
They said have a good one.
All right, Miss Sheeta, thank you so much.
All right, Freight, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right. Yeah, that was a story, man. Hmm, that was a story, man. Overcoming story. And if you think you can overcome, man, hey, just listen to this podcast. just listen to this story, Miss Sheeta's story, man. That is a powerful, powerful testimony, man. I'm not even finna say nothing else on top of that. This has been the Freight Trapping Podcast. I have been your host, Mr. James Robertson, and we will talk to you next week.